happens in the BJP, it happens in the DMK, it happens in the SP, it happens in the Congress party. It happens everywhere.
Then how are you different?
You got to go into why it's happening.
It's happening because dynasties are allowed to proliferate. It's because a Scindia's son is a minister, a Deora's son is a minister, a pilot's son is a minister, a prime minister's son is the Congress vice president. That's dynasty. Change is not happening at the top, Mr. Gandhi. You want change at the bottom. There are people out there who are saying, we want change at the top.
Yeah.
We want change at the top.
The reason children of politicians keep getting repositioned is because the system is closed. You're not going to change that without opening the system. You're not going to open the system without having processes. The system is not going to open just by waving a wand like that and saying, abracadabra, let's open the system. It is going to take time, it is going to take effort, it is going to take structure. That is the work I do. That is the work I spend a whole bunch of my time doing. That is the revolutionary work I've done in the IYC and the NSUAC. That is the work that we are doing when we talk about an open manifesto. That is the work that we are doing when we talk about 15 parliamentary seats being chosen by...
Only 15?
Absolutely, because one needs to set up the systems. If I was to suddenly launch into 546 seats being directly elected by people, the system would explode. What I need to do is I need to set up an idea, test the idea, run the idea. If it makes sense, if the thing actually works, then move it into the rest of the party. The step we've taken with those 15 primaries, I mean, we get that much of a little piece in the newspaper, but that is probably the biggest political step that is being taken in this country. It's a huge, huge step. And I think those are the type of questions one needs to ask, and one doesn't ask them. One asks questions that don't actually reach to the heart of the issue. You're talking about India. We've had a 1 hour conversation here. You haven't asked me one question of how we are going to actually build this country, how we're going to take this country forward. You haven't asked me one question on how we're going to empower our people. You haven't asked me one question on what we're going to do for youngsters. You're not interested in that.
That's wrong, Mr. Gandhi.
No.
If I was to know that, I'd hear a Rahul Gandhi speech. But this is not a Rahul Gandhi speech. This is a Rahul Gandhi interview. My question was again, and I draw you back, Mr. Gandhi, I see that you have this knack of trying to throw the question back at me. I can only tell you, Mr. Gandhi, I'm going to ask the questions. My question to you is, how do you handle this? You see, the other view is that you're a fragile person. You get affected by criticism. Now, you know, Subramaniam Swamy, I'm sure you know him. He raises all kinds of questions on you. May I, with your permission?
Of course, please.
Subramaniam Swamy has raised questions on your degrees. He says, why does he claim he has an MPhil from Cambridge? Cambridge has no record of his thesis. You cannot get an MPhil without a thesis. He says, yes, he went to Harvard. When Rajiv Gandhi was Prime Minister, somebody, and I won't name, gave $11 million to Harvard Medical School. Donors quota, Harvard has this quota. Once you enter, in 3 months, Harvard said to him, we don't think you belong here. So he dropped out. He's questioned both your degrees. I want you today.
Were you in Cambridge?
I was at Oxford.
You're at Oxford. But you spent some time at Cambridge?
I was a visiting fellow at Cambridge for a while.
Okay. So where were you in Cambridge?
At Sydney Sussex College.
So I was at Trinity in Cambridge. I spent a year there, did my MPhil there.
Now I want your response to
what's the response? I mean,
I want your response to Subramaniam. How do you deal with this?
You want me to show you my degree? I can show you my degree.
No, would you feel like showing him your degree?
He's probably seen my degree. I mean, I've given an affidavit, a sworn affidavit saying that I've got these degrees. Now, if I'm lying on the affidavit, let him take a legal process and solve it. I mean, what more do you want me to do?
You challenge him.
Why should I challenge him? Why should I challenge?
He's attacking you personally.
He's attacked my family for 40 years. Why should I challenge him? I mean,
Does it affect you, Mr. Gandhi? Does it affect you? When you are attacked at a personal level, does it affect you? And how do you choose not to respond? How do you bury your head in the sand and say, this is not happening, it's happening to you? You are being criticized.
I respond. You see, I respond by understanding why I'm being attacked. I'm being attacked because I'm doing things that are dangerous to the system. I'm being attacked because I'm asking questions that are dangerous to the system. And I'm not asking superficial questions. I'm not asking, questions over here. I'm asking questions over there. And everybody understands that this fellow here is not a superficial little chap who just talks. This fellow over here is thinking deeply and is thinking long term. That's why I'm attacked. I understand that, right? And frankly, attack me all you want. Beat me to death. It's not going to stop me. I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm going to ask the questions that are relevant. And you know what? I've got 1,000 people in the Congress Party, 2,000 people in the Congress Party, youngsters who work in this stuff. They're not letting go. And I'm proud of them. They're not letting go. It doesn't matter. Keep throwing stones at us. That's the point. The point is that the people who are attacked in this system, the people who are actually attacked, are the people who are fighting the system. You understand that? They're not the people who sit and ask the superficial questions. They're the ones who are actually saying, listen, let's do something about this system. They're the ones who are actually going deep into the processes, understanding that this is the crux of it. And the crux of it, Arnab, I've told you, the crux of it is how we choose candidates. The crux of it is how we make policy. That's the crux of it. The thing is, you don't like discussing it. You like discussing stuff, that's really doesn't go to the core, And I'm a serious politician. I'm not somebody, who is here to, get power or make money or something. I'm somebody who's here, who's seen what the system does to people. I've seen, and I can give you example after example after example after example in my mind. And I'm not going to fight a superficial battle. I just am not. It's not interesting to me. I'm going to fight a battle. I'm going to fight a deep battle. And I'm going to take the youngsters in this country. I'm going to line them up and I'm going to take the system on. Don't forget that.
You don't have thick skin, Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Politicians need to have thick skin. And Mr. Gandhi, can I say
if I don't have a thick skin right now, it'll get thick.
Can I tell you one thing? I'll tell you one thing, Mr. Gandhi. Yeah, say you're a serious politician. I assure you, Mr. Gandhi, I'm a very serious journalist. And therefore, when I interview Rahul Gandhi, his first interview in 10 years, it's my responsibility to ask you specific questions. I'm glad you're taking them. My next question to you, and I have only 2 left, Mr. Gandhi. How much have you been affected by your defeats? And when we see, for example, the visuals of you and Priyanka holding you in after the UP election loss, that picture, almost in a protective manner that Priyanka is holding you and you're walking away, you tell me what's happening in your mind out there. Do you feel overwhelmed by loss, by defeat, because you've had quite a few of late? How have you dealt with it?
It all depends on what you're trying to do, right? I told you that I'm here because I want to help use the energy of this country. I want to make this country powerful. I want to project the ideas of this country. To do that, I think there are basically 3 things that one needs to do. One is changing the way we do politics here. Getting away from superficialities, getting away from the small issues and moving deeper into the issues, right? Questioning the system, changing the system. Things like RTI, things like Lokpal, things like questioning how we choose candidates, things like bringing youngsters into policy, right? The second is empowering the women of this country. Really bringing them into the system, really pushing them forward. And the third is using the energy of the youth of this country. Bringing them the type of jobs that they need. This stuff is not done in 5 minutes. This stuff is frankly not done in these type of discussions. This stuff is done with concentrated thinking, with long-term work, and frankly, it's difficult work, it's painful work, okay? If you're thinking about that, and you're thinking that that's what you want to do, defeat just makes you stronger. It makes you want to do it more.
If you had not been,
I don't go into elections saying, oh my God, if we lose an election, that's the end of the world. No,
absolutely not.
We lose some elections, we'll win some elections. But the real thing is, it's a heart thing, it's a soul thing. Why are you here? I asked you that question. I asked you the question, why am I sitting here? I'm sitting here because with all my heart, I think we need to change the way the system works here. And not enough people are actually asking that question.